Hello, my friends and inventor botanists and Carson. So I have a bunch of videos that are talking about different plants, native and invasive sometimes, and the purpose of this video is going to be to describe the difference between the two. Native plants are those growing in a particular region or area, so like the Pacific Northwest or Illinois or Cook County. Those are all different examples of different sizes of regions that a plant may be found in. And a native plant is one that is naturally occurring and naturally grows in that area, and it has been for a long time. And naturally occurring means no human intervention, no humans brought it over, it's just growing there on its own. Native plants. Plants are important to our health of our forests because they provide a delicate balance to the system. They fall into a network of microbes like bacteria or fungi, or birds, other insects, other plants, all balancing on a delicate network. And what can ruin that? Invasives. Non-native plants are those not naturally occurring in an ecosystem, and they may come from other places like, well, in North America, a lot of non-native plants are from U.S.A, and those plants are not naturally occurring, so that means some type of human most likely brought them in. Lots of settlers did that. And the problem with these plants being brought in is that they don't have any checks and balances putting them into place. So they're not susceptible to the same sorts of diseases or whatever other things that might be killing off some native species. So they have the upper hand against a lot of native species. How do invasives get away with all of this? Well, they have a bunch of different techniques that they use. And aside from escaping pathogens and other enemies and diseases, they might exude chemicals from their roots using chemical warfare, below-ground chemical warfare, seeping these chemicals through the roots that go through the soil and negatively harm other plants. One example is in a video that I did earlier. If you haven't seen it, look at it, check it out. It's honeysuckle. And this plant is a really good invasive species, and it's from Eurasia. And it takes advantage of our system by having an extended phenology, which means it's the first to have leaves in the spring and the last to have leaves in the fall. So that means it's photosynthetically active for longer, and so it's collecting food for longer than a lot of other species. And a lot of times when these invasives come in and they have all these different advantages, they often take over, and instead of having a forest or a prairie with dozens of different or hundreds of different native species, you'll just end up with a couple of invasive species, maybe a few remaining natives. So, know the difference between your invasive and native species. Promote natives. No to invasives. Know the plants around you and save plants to save the planet.